Hello. Welcome to the first part of the My Exclusive Tower Guide. At the beginning of this series, we see that our protagonist is explaining the situation. At 7 a.m., 10-kilometer run, MC is running even if it is heavily raining. After that, at 12 p.m., head strikes 500 times. And at 5 p.m., big 3 exercises, 10 reps per set, 10 sets. And for the sake of repeating this routine for 14 days, I decided to resign. He gives his resignation letter to his boss. He says, "Someone asked me this. Did I suddenly go crazy? Maybe it would have been better for me to have been crazy." The door to the end of days is opening soon. After that, we see that a system window appears in front of the protagonist. It was saying that the door to the end of days is opening soon. Time left until the end of days, 5 seconds. Please prepare for the end. Recommended quest: strength exercises, cardio exercises, learning kendo. MC says, the world is ending soon after all. There are only 2 seconds remaining. 1 second. Time's up. After that, we see 15 days ago. Everyone receives a message which says, critical disaster alert, Zhangyo-gu today at 1832. Monsters appeared near Inwang Mountain. Citizens around the area are to evacuate immediately. If you do see monsters, everyone is really surprised and says, "What? Monster?" After that, everyone receives another message saying, critical disaster alert Seoul today at 1651. 2 monsters appeared near Sirak Mountain. The monsters are moving toward. Monsters appear in a lot of other cities. After that, there is another message appears which says, monsters have really appeared, not a joke. Live stream. Video. Sakurella. Savarella says, guys, it has appeared. There's really a monster. Those who are watching the live broadcast still don't believe him. Monster is about to turn. He says, since I came all the way here, should I go a little closer? One of the comments says, behind you. Everyone starts to spam behind. He says, come on, you guys are just messing with me, right? I was looking at it, but it wasn't moving. Monster appears right behind him with a bloody mouth. We hear a really loud scream. Protagonist was also watching the live broadcast. He says, damn, that surprised me. Why does that video look so realistic? We also kept receiving disaster alert text messages today. What on earth is happening today? Our protagonist's name is Lee Hoyoung. His age is 29. He sees a trap sign and says, it's already hard enough to make a living, but now they're talking about monsters and whatnot. Who'd believe something like that? There have been way too many such faked videos recently. He sees something and suddenly stops. There is a monster in front of him stuck in a trap. He sees that and thinks, there's one here. Wait, why is there a monster? This is kinda scary. Let's run for now. He says, oh, right? This is the day the math teacher will be here. Monster tries to say something. It tries to make a cute face. MC sees it and thinks, is asking me to help it? Even though it's trying to act cute and ask for help, it's still too scary. I'm a human, that's a monster. I am not someone nice enough to be able to show compassion to a monster. I can't help a monster, even if it looks at me with those eyes. The monster shows a picture of his family to Lee Hoyoung and says, I have a family back home. Lee Hoyoung is really surprised. He gets a silver goblin's pill. Once consumed, you will obtain the unknown. He thinks, I ended up helping a monster. I even got a gift from it. I can't believe it's a monster. But what's this silver goblin's pill? He tries to touch the system window in front of him, but he is not able to touch it. His hand goes through it. He asks, is this something like a hologram? Consume it? Huh? Who would eat something so suspicious? There comes urgent news. Right now, unknown large buildings have appeared all over the world. These buildings look like towers, and we have lost contact with the U.S. Army that went into the tower. The appearance of monsters and unknown towers. Has the apocalypse really started? Lee Hoyoung is holding the pill in his hand and watching the news with a surprised expression on his face. A big explosion near his house. Lee Hoyoung is really surprised and says, what? Everyone is running around. There is a lot of stuff destroyed. A tower appears from underground. News reporter says, more urgent news. Currently, in Korea, a huge tower has also appeared in Korea. MC sees the tower. He clenched his fist. He thinks, I don't know if this is the correct decision, but he eats the pill. He thinks, this is the only time I will be able to do something as crazy as this. Really strong energy starts to flow in his body and starts to flow out as well. His eyes turn blue. A system window appears saying, you have obtained the Sage's status window. Sage's statue's window will provide the guide with the highest rate of survival in your current situation. He gets a book. He grabs the book and opens it. Some really bright light shines from the book. A guide window appears in front of him saying, Guide. The door to the end of days is opening soon. Time left until the end of days, 15 days 4 hours, 12 minutes 52 seconds. Please prepare for the end. Recommended quest. Strength exercises, cardio exercises, learning kendo. He thinks, so I followed the recommendation of the guide. I have up on everything else for 15 days to focus on just exercising. But, system says, the door of the end has opened. Li Huiyang is in the middle of the forest and thinks, this is the end? It's kinda different from what I imagined. There is a sword right beside him. It is a blunt sword. System says, the game starts now. Starting the tutorial. The aptitude test has been completed. Based on the analysis of the data, you will be given the most suitable class. Your class is Combat Swordsman. He is really surprised and says, this is... System says, open the status window for more details. Li Huiyang is confused and says, there are too many things to read. He opens the status window. He has 10 MP. His class is Combat Swordsman Level 1. His skills are Level 1 Basic Swordsmanship, Sage Status Window. His stamina is 14, Strength is 11, Agility is 7, and Sensitivity is 8. His remaining points are 0. He picks up the sword. He is really happy and says, a combat swordsman? Does this mean things are really starting from now on? To clear this, I have to either survive in this forest for 60 minutes or escape from an exit that is in here somewhere. If this is called the tutorial, it should be giving us time to get used to the game before it starts. System says, Sage's status window will provide the guide with the highest rate of survival in your current situation. A guide window appears saying, use all 60 minutes of the tutorial and kill as many monsters as possible. The second objective will hinder your growth as is not recommended. Li Huiyang sees that and thinks, I can use the Sage's status window here too. I guess the Sage's status window asked me to exercise because it knew that this situation would occur. Based on what the guide said, I have to hunt the monsters. It'd be best to not choose to run away from the forest. System says, the tutorial starts now. A monster appears in front of him. He sees it and thinks, that's a monster? It's cuter than I thought it'd be. It is a level 1 horned raccoon. Raccoons become a really dangerous monster immediately. Monster jumps toward him to attack. Li Huiyang uses basic swordsmanship level 1. He kills the monster. System window appears saying, you have killed one horned raccoon. You have obtained EXP. He says, it died to a strike from basic swordsmanship. That's pretty weak. Maybe it's because it's a tutorial monster. Basic swordsmanship uses 2 MP. I only have 10 MP, so I can only use basic swordsmanship 5 times. That means I need to preserve as much ammo as I can while hunting. He is killing monsters left and right. He kills 3 more of them. System says, you are now level 2. You have recovered HP and MP. You will obtain points every time you level up. You can then use those points to increase your stats. Remaining points 2. He wipes sweat from his face and says, I level up. Nice timing. My mana was about to be depleted. His system window starts to turn red. System says, adjusting the player's level. You are now level 1. The weight of knowledge. As you have the Sage's status window, you will level up slower as compared to other players. He is really surprised and thinks, what? There a penalty for having the Sage's status window? I can't believe the level I gained was taken away from me. When can I level up then? Damn it. What a ridiculous handicap. He opens the status window. He is really surprised to see his status window. He thinks, wait, something's weird. Why do I still have points? If what I'm thinking is correct, this isn't a penalty. It could be an overpowered bug-like ability. After that, we see a monster jumps and comes toward him really fast. He grabs his sword with both of his hands and swings it with full power. System says, you have obtained EXP. You are now level 2. Readjusting player's level. You are now level 1. He is really happy to see that. He thinks, I fell back to level 1 as I expected. The remaining points are still going up though. The more I level up, the more EXP I need to earn for the next one. It'd be easier to raise my stats like this than to level up the normal way. Now let's try raising my stats. I guess I have 4 choices. Strength and agility would be the best choices for a combat swordsman, right? Strength would allow for stronger attacks, and agility will increase my speed and reflexes. But the stat I need the most right now is, he puts all in point in sensitivity. His sensitivity goes up by 4. He continues to kill monsters. He thinks, one-horned raccoon isn't as strong as you'd expect from a tutorial monster. I was able to defeat them easily even with the default stats. System says, utilize the entire 60-minute tutorial to kill as many monsters as possible. There are a lot of dead raccoons around him. He thinks the problem is how many one-horned raccoons I can find within the given time. It's much easier to find the raccoons now. I have a higher sensitivity state. Level 1 Li Huiyang sensitivity 20. I feel like I can sense a kind of chi with sensitivity 22. System says, you have defeated all monsters. The hidden quest is being activated. A really big one-horned raccoon appears. System window appears saying, defeat level 2, one-horned raccoon alpha. He thinks, what's this monster? It jumps toward him really fast. He barely dodges the attack. He thinks, it's fast. Is that rhino-like monster? The boss? It turns toward Li Huiyang. He thinks, let's calm down. It's different from the other one-horned raccoons. It charges toward him. Li Huiyang cuts him down and thinks, but it's doable. System's eyes, you have defeated the boss, one-horned raccoon alpha. You have cleared the hidden quest reward, gold. He gets up and says, I'm actually level 7 after all. He has completed the tutorial. He says that he didn't expect the hour to feel so long. Anyway, it's over, right? He appears in a room full of people. Everyone is really scared and he thinks, I'm in a different location? An announcement happens which says, welcome everyone. You have successfully completed the tutorial. This is the lobby of the tower. You are currently in the C2567 region. He thinks, the lobby? What's that? There are 14 men and 11 women. Did they also finish the tutorial and get sent here? Everyone's panicking. It makes sense. The entire world changed in just a day after all. Had I not known that the world was going to end beforehand, I would probably be panicking like them. Let's calm down. I'll make it out of here alive. A girl says, where's this place? A rabbit-like host appears and tells them that this is the Tower of the End. Everyone was really surprised to see him. Rabbit says, hi, everyone. He is level 55 Kumkum. I'm the cutie of the tower and the lower floor manager. Kumkum. One of the other players says, what? It just appeared out of nowhere. Is it a kid in a rabbit suit? Was it you that brought us here? Rabbit thinks, well, I guess this is the normal response. Li Huiyang asks, I want to ask you something. If this really is the end of the world, then what are we supposed to do now? Rabbit points toward Li Huiyang and says, a great question. All of you 22 players here. Rabbit makes an evil face. He says, we'll be participating in a game with you lives at stake. Everyone is really surprised and scared. They ask, what? Are live? Rabbit replies, all humans of Earth are currently in this tower right now. You will work together for each mission on each floor to climb the tower. Li Huiyang asks, then, can we go back to our normal lives once we make it to the top of the tower? Rabbit replies that, I also don't know. Li Huiyang asks, then what's the point of climbing the tower? Rabbit replies, is there a need to search for meaning in things? Only death awaits those who do not climb the tower. Quite a lot of people already died in the tutorial. Li Huiyang is really surprised and thinks, why didn't I consider that? I know it's just the tutorial, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who couldn't even manage that. Wait, no, there's no way. Rabbit says, now, then, is anyone willing to try and kill me? I need to die in order to get home. There's a special reward for the one who helps me. Li Huiyang thinks, what? Is this a trap? He doesn't look strong on the outside. But there's no way I can win against a level 55. I should just stand back and watch for now. System says, a guide has arrived. Help the lower floor manager Kumkum get home. Lee Hoyoung thinks, help Kumkum get home? Does that mean it's okay to attack that rabbit? It never hut until now to listen to what the guide told me. But is it worth doing something so conspicuous? Damn it, what should I do? Another swordsman steps up and says, I'll do it. If you want to die so badly, then I should kill you. Don't you think? Lee Hoyoung thinks, I was too late. Rabbit says, oh ho, I'll be able to get home. He grabs his sword and says, don't regret it. I'll kill you as painfully as I can. He jumps towards the rabbit to attack him. A really strong punch hits him on the face. His blood splatter all round. Everyone is really surprised and scared. Rabbit says, oops, I accidentally counterattacked. Rabbit became really big and muscular. Everyone is shocked to see him. Everyone screams and starts to run. Lee Hoyoung is standing still. He thinks, what if it had been me? Who volunteered? Rabbit gets back to his small size and says, everyone, it's just a mistake. There are also some drops of blood on the guild window. Rabbit says, any other volunteers? Lee Hoyoung thinks, did the guide lie to me? Rabbit asks, who wants to help Kumkum get an early mark? Everyone is scared. Hoyoung is really confused and thinks, the guide lied? Why? System says, the sage's status window has been triggered. Skill window appears. It has 2 skills. First sage's eye, sage's status window, gets triggered, and you may look at the status window of other people. Second guide, using sage's status window, the guide will be sent to you at times. However, because of this skill, you will level up slower compared to other players. He sees that and thinks, sage's eye? There was another ability besides sage's status window? But why is this appearing all of a sudden? Hoyoung sees something with sage's eye. He smiles and thinks, ah, so that's what it was. Rabbit makes a cute face and says, Kumkum wants to go home. Hoyoung raises his hand and says, I'll do it. He thinks, the guide wasn't lying. Rabbit smiles and says, Mr. Lee Hoyoung's level 1. Hoyoung asks, is my level important when I'm doing a good deed? Rabbit makes an evil face and replies, yes, I suppose not. All right, then please send me home quickly. A girl comes there says to Hoyoung, wait, this is too dangerous. You just saw someone die. Everyone around him says, yeah, don't do anything reckless. Hoyoung tells them that, it's okay. I have a plan. He smiles and turns toward the rabbit and tells him, you'll see something exciting. Rabbit is really excited. Rabbit becomes muscular and jumps toward Hoyoung to destroy him. Hoyoung thinks, there was something strange about what Kumkum said. I'm certain that there are 25 people in this space. But Kumkum said 24. Was that just a simple mistake? Know the horror of facing a level 55 monster and fear that it could kill us. All of that was intentional. The reason Kumkum said that wrong number. It looks like that Hoyoung gets hit by the attack. Everyone is really scared. Hoyoung thinks the reason is Hoyoung is fine and kills someone. He is using Sage's eye and thinks, because there are only 24 people in here to begin with. System window appears above a dead person that says, a human hologram made by Kumkum. Rabbit starts to disappear and tells Hoyoung that, you're pretty good, Mr. Lee Hoyoung. Rabbit's status window appears saying, not his true form, a hologram. Disappears when damage is inflicted. Rabbit tells him that, for those who have courage, may the odds be ever in your favor. Rabbit drops an orb. It is stat point 1. Everyone is really surprised and says, what? A hologram? Then it was a fake? They asks him, Lee Hoyoung, how did you know? Hoyoung tells them that, coincidentally, I saw the blood pass through Chai Yishiel. Her face and clothes should be covered in blood because of the proximity. That's why I thought this was all a show. He thinks, it would be better for me to make up an excuse instead. A red-haired man says, hey, I think it's a huge waste for you to have that. Anyways, you just got lucky. He is level 4. His name is Kim Seong. Seong points at him and says, if I noticed, I would have stepped up. Hoyoung asks him, what do you mean it'll be a waste? Seong replies, the fact that you're still level 1 when we already completed the tutorial means you're either weak as hell or you couldn't kill anything, so you just ran away. You're just going to die quickly. So for the sake of mankind, I'm giving you the chance to yield that to me. Hoyoung thinks, What with his arrogance? Is he being serious? Hoyoung breaks the orb. The system says, you have obtained 1 stat point. Xiang is really surprised and angry to see that. Hoyoung tells him, yielding isn't a hobby of mine. Xiang gets really and says, wow, for a bottom feeder, you're quite greedy. Are you trying to save face because of your level? Huh. Hoyoung thinks, speaking from experience, the wisest thing to do is to avoid people like him. But for how long would I be able to keep this up? Suddenly, announcer says, from now on, your starting gold will be given out. You can use the gold in the shop, and additional gold will be given in accordance to the number of monsters you have hunted in the tutorial. He thinks, gold. Xiang told him, count yourself lucky. In this area, the highest amount of starting gold a player has is 7,400 G. Everyone is really surprised and says, 7,400? Is one of us getting that much? Xiang is angry and says, if I knew this was going to happen, I would have done better. Zhengxiang tells him that, I don't know who came in first, but they sure are amazing. Xiang gets 1,300 gold, and Zhengxiang gets 1,500 gold. Hoyoung gets 7,400 gold. He thinks the player who came first is me. Of course, I don't plan to reveal it, since one guy was already jealous of a mere stat point. A system window appears saying, the shop is opening. He thinks there are 3 big things that you can do with gold: buying items, leveling up your skills, or increasing your stats. He increases his strength by 9, stamina by 6, on agility by 13. All of stats are now at 20, and he has 4,600 gold left. Xiang is really angry and shouts, why is leveling up my skills so expensive? Hoyoung thinks, I should level up basic swordsmanship too. He uses 1,500 gold to upgrade basic swordsmanship. Hoyoung also changed his clothes with 100 gold. He thinks, I can't keep wearing my gym uniform. Chase Yiziel comes to him and says, excuse me, Mr. Lee Hoyoung. Hoyoung asks what's up. She says, I would like some advice. Hoyoung asks, why are you asking for advice from a level 1? She replies, your level aside, I was very impressed by your bravery. He sees her stats window, and she has 800 gold. He asks her, how much gold do you currently have? She replies, 800. He thinks, she's honest. I need to hide that I'm using a cheat key. Hoyoung asks her, do you like exercising? She replies, I don't mind walking. Hoyoung tells her, then your stamina stat is most likely not very good. She says, that's right. He tells her, if you're lacking stamina, then you should invest in that. You can't even use items for long despite the gold you spend on it. She says, I'll follow your advice, thank you. Announcer says, the first floor mission will commence soon. Please create your own 3-man party. Players with no party will be put into a random party. You will be given 30 minutes. Hoyoung thinks, a party? I did think that there would be a group mission, but they gave one sooner than I thought. Junsong tells everyone that, since we can see each other's levels, how about we tell each other our classes? Hoyoung thinks, like Kim Jungseong suggested, they started to reveal their classes, and people started to create teams with the players they want. Chai Yiziel asks Hoyoung, if you would like to, would you please team up with me? He thinks my first party member is Chase Yiziel. I have no reason to refuse when a healer is asking to team up with me. But everyone else's replies were the same. They say, sorry, Lee Hoyoung. I need to think about it before joining your party. He thinks, even though I had a healer, maybe they were bothered by me. Well, it's true that a level 1 combat swordsman isn't very enticing, since players who are level 4 are very relaxed. Everyone has already made their parties. The people remaining are. Announcer says, 30 minutes is up. Incomplete parties will not be filled randomly. The first floor mission will commence. Hoyoung and his team appears in a forest. Xiang says, I'm so unlucky. To think I'm at a party with this bottom feeder. Hoyoung thinks, so it really came to this. To think he was less popular than me when he's a level 4. Would it even be possible to cooperate with him? No, since it's come to this, the problem isn't if it's possible or not. I need to make it passable. In order to survive here, a mission window appears which says, Mission, Annihilate the Kobold Tribe. Time limit, 12 hours. Xiang tells Hoyoung that, I'll wipe out that Kobold tribe or whatever, so don't get in my way. Hoyoung replies, please remember that this is a team mission. Xiang gets really angry and says, Oi loser, I'm letting you ride on my coattails, so why the hell do you have so much to say? Hoyoung sighs and says, okay, then I'll try to ride on your coattails and see how good it is. Hoyoung thinks, for now, I should listen to him. Xiang tells him that, you were only going to ride my coattails anyway, so why would you uselessly rebel? You only get your act together when someone's about to kill you. Hoyoung says, thank you for your concern. Chai thinks, will this party be okay? We really need to complete this mission without any trouble. There are a lot of bugs on the trees. Hoyoung sees them and thinks, there are indeed a lot of bugs since we're in the mountains. Hoyoung suddenly realizes something. Chai asks, Hoyoung, the kobold monster must be strong, right? Hoyoung replies, there is a chance that it is stronger than a one-horned raccoon, but since we're still on level 1, it should be manageable. We should still be on our guard. After all, this is the Tower of the End. Chai says, okay. A really muscular monster appears in front of them. Hoyoung was really surprised to see it. It is a level 5 kobold. Hoyoung thinks, that one's way too different. Yiziel says, that monster's obviously way stronger. What should we do, Hoyoung? Hoyoung replies, I know, let's check the surroundings first. There could be more kobolds around. Xiang starts to move and says, it's because you keep hiding like a damn coward. He jumps ready to attack the kobold. He punches the kobold in the face and says that you're still at level 1. Yiziel and Hoyoung are both really surprised. Xiang is smiling. Kobold is fine and is not hurt by the punch at all. Xiang says, look at you. Holding out, huh? Xiang is about to punch Kobold again. Hoyoung thinks, I can't believe he'd just go in there alone so brazenly. I didn't expect him to be that stubborn. Yiziel also moves and says, I'll help you too. Hoyoung thinks, thankfully, I don't sense any other kobolds around yet. Xiang's strength is 24 and he's been punching the kobold non-stop, but it still has 92% of its health. Hoyoung thinks, he definitely brings his levels worth though. With Yiziel's help, he might even be able to take him down all alone. But why is the damage dealt so low compared to his strength? Does he have some other weakness? System window appears saying, relaying the guide. A guide window appears saying, as kobolds are passive monsters, they will not attack unless provoked. Hoyoung thinks, that means Kim Xiang stirred the hornet's nest for no reason. No, let's be positive about this. We need to catch a few for research purposes anyway, so? He scrolls down the guide window and sees something which surprises him. He thinks, this is... Xiang is still punching the kobold. He is really angry and says, for God's sake. He uses a level 1 stone fist. Kobold dodges the punch. His punch hits the tree. Tree gets destroyed, which falls on the head of another kobold. The second kobold is stronger than the first one. It is a level 6 kobold. He throws away the tree with his bare hand. Level 5 and level 6 kobolds both run towards Xiang to attack. Xiang is blocking their attacks and thinks, damn it, this feels like I'm in big trouble. But what is this Li Hoyoung doing? Not even helping me. Hoyoung is not there anymore. Xiang thinks, what the? That loser? Did he run? Level kobold attacks him. Yiziel grabs the sword and attacks the level kobold. She stumbles and falls. She is really scared. Now level 6 kobold is about to attack Yiziel. A fruit falls from above. Hoyoung cuts the fruit with his sword. He uses basic swordsmanship. Level 6 kobolds get injured. Because of the fruit that Hoyoung cut, kobold explodes. Xiang is really surprised to see that. Xiang says, loser? Hoyoung smiles and thinks, no wonder. While the bugs ate all the fruit, they didn't touch any of these, so I thought something was off. So this is what it was. Hoyoung summons poison apples from the inventory. A guide window appears saying, kobolds are vulnerable to poison. Gather poison from the mountains and use it. He thinks the key to the level 1 mission. Hoyoung helped Chai. Yiziel gets up. Hoyoung says, I didn't expect another one would be drawn here because of the aggro. Otherwise it would have been dangerous if I was a bit late. Yiziel says, even so, you came on time. So thanks to you, we made it. He says, that's a relief. She asks, but where did you go? He is about to tell her. Soyoung is really angry and says, oi, loser. What a damn free rider. You were hidden somewhere in a corner when I was actually dangerous. And after I land a few hits to him, you just swoop in and steal the final hit? Screw this. Unethical bastard. I knew it when I saw him gulping down the stat points. Hoyoung is confused and thinks, what the hell is yapping about? Is he a lunatic? Seeing how he's unable to read the room, he's gonna have an even harder time. After that we see at the Kobold village. Seong is fighting his hardest, but he is not able to kill one kobold. Hoyoung behind him is easily killing kobolds. Even Yiziel is killing kobolds easily. Seong get hit. He thinks, these lowly monsters can never stop me. Hoyoung and Yiziel are easily killing a lot of kobolds. Seong is really frustrated to see that. He thinks, damn it, how are they doing it so easily? He gets hit on the head by a kobold. He thinks, it hurts. It hurts too much. Please someone please. Kobolds that are about to attack him blow up. Hoyoung offered him a helping hand. He says, I took over the coattail ride in your place for a bit. How was the ride? Seong gets really happy to see him. He says, Hoyoung, my big bro. Hoyoung and Yiziel are really surprised. System says, you've cleared the mission. Hoyoung, Yiziel, and Seong come out of the portal. Seong is really sad and thinks, what have I done? Calling some level 2 newbie, sir. Hoyoung is now level 2. Seong is level 8. Yiziel is level 7. Seong thinks, it's over for me if this gets out. But I, Kim Seong, am a man. I cannot go back on my word. He is really frustrated. Yiziel looks around, tells, I guess nobody's here yet. Are we the first ones? Hoyoung says, looks like we cleared faster than others, because we luckily managed to find the kobold's weakness. Yiziel says, luck? It's all thanks to your observational skills. I never would have thought of using poison. Hoyoung replies, if it weren't for your support, it would have been much harder. He thinks, I feel like a fraud. Other teams start to come out of the portals. Hoyoung says, looks like the other parties are coming back too. He thinks, is it Kim Junsong and Seo Juno's party? They must have found the poisonous apples too. I wonder if the other parties will make it back fine. Another team's 2 members come out of the portal. They fall on their knees. Yiziel asks them, what about the third person? One of them starts to cry and says, it's just the 2 of us. Announcer tells them, the mission has been completed by all parties. The first level mission has been completed by all parties. Yiziel shouts and says, wait, there's someone who hasn't come back yet. Hoyoung thinks, a total of 6 parties have returned alive, and 8 players have failed to return. I expected that it'd be hard for everyone to make it back alive. But 8 dead already? I wonder how many more will die before we make it up to the top. Beginning calculations for level 1 mission. The parties who make it alive whole, and the party that cleared the first level first, will receive 1,000 gold each. Hoyoung thinks, I got 2,000 gold for both bonuses. It's a bit lacking compared to the tutorial, but gold is a kind of insurance for my future survival. I need to save as much as I can. Everyone around them starts to ask, but which party got first? Hoyoung thinks, I guess I'll have to reveal it this time. The party that returned second knows already so. Hoyoung is about to tell them, but Seong shouts and tells them, it was us. It was an obvious result, so don't be too sad. One of the other players asks, your party was first? Seong replies, what's with those reactions? Are you mad that I got first? Hoyoung smiles and thinks, I guess he forgot about the fact that he was beaten up by those kobolds. Well, I guess that lessens the attention on me. Everyone looks toward Hoyoung with hateful eyes and says, look at him. He got first place, but he's only level 2. Wow. Then he got 2,000 gold from doing nothing? He really got carried. Does he not feel bad at all? He hears everything and thinks, I guess not. Yiziel shouts that, no, Hoyoung actually. Hoyoung stops her and tells her it's okay. They're not gonna listen anyway. Yiziel says, but I'll have to show them. Junsong says, now, let's calm down. We need to focus on our survival. Junsong is level 8. His class is Archer, one of the highest level players in the region. Juno says, he's right. We should cheer up. Juno is also level and his class is Combat Swordsman, one of the highest level players in the region. He says, We must keep pushing on for the sake of the people who passed away. Everyone speaks up that, right? We shouldn't be wallowing. Let's get it together. We can do this. Yeah, let's do this. All the torches around them turn red. A lot of warning messages appear. Everyone gets scared and they say, "What's happening?" The torch flame's color change? Announcer says, the survival rate of the first level of Region C 2567 is below average. Penalty mission is being put into place. Everyone is surprised and says, "What? Penalty mission?" Announcer tells them, death mission will begin soon. Hoyoung is surprised and thinks, death mission? Announcer asks them to choose one candidate in their mind. The player with the most votes will carry out the death mission. Time limit is 5 minutes. Hoyoung thinks, people realized. Announcer tells them, if you do not choose anyone, you will automatically vote for yourself. Hoyoung thinks, to be voted here means death. Everyone is really scared and is looking around. Yiziel tells them, wait, if we all vote for ourselves, then no one will have to do the death mission. Someone else says, what if we all end up having to do it then? This isn't the time to be arguing. The time's still ticking. A girl points toward Hoyoung and says, over there. Lee Hoyoung was voted by SEO Juno. Yiziel is surprised. Everyone is scared and says, isn't this too cruel? No one said that it's not anonymous. Jinho tells them, I'm sorry. We do need to choose. Hoyoung says, I did expect it given the atmosphere, but I am a bit taken aback. I don't want to die, after all. Yiziel says, it's not too late. If we all vote for ourselves and Hoyoung votes for SEO Juno. Hoyoung says, that won't work. Lee Jichiel had a point. We don't know if that'll work. And trust was already broken. As time ticked away, the votes above my head increased one by one. I'm sure there was more than one reason, but the biggest reason was that I'm low level. Everyone else is either level 4 or above. They have lost the notion of society that the strong should protect the weak. Yiziel says, you're all too cruel. How can you do this to someone? They says, then what are we supposed to do? I'm gonna die if I don't vote. I have done anything wrong. A girl says, I'm sure he would have died anyway given his level. Hoyoung thinks, the mask fell, and people revealed their true selves. There is only 1 second remaining. Seyoung says, sorry sir, and vote for Hoyoung. Hoyoung now has 10 votes. Hoyoung thinks, it was a cruel reminder that the world of the end really is here. Announcer says, all votes have been cast. Portal to the death mission is opening. A red portal appears in front of Hoyoung. Everyone is really surprised and says, is this real? Seyoung laughs and says, now that I think about it, my problem's solved if he's gone. I'm a genius. Hoyoung thinks, the sacrificial lamb was chosen and the altar set up. With a guild and relief behind me, I have no choice but to climb the Calvary. Except, at the top of Calvary isn't death. A guide window appears saying, participating in the death mission is recommended. You have a high chance of clearing the mission, and a satisfactory reward awaits you. Hoyoung is excited and goes into the portal. He thinking, a delightful treat. Torch's color change back to blue. Everyone is sitting on the floor sad and frustrated. Junsong comes to Seyoung and Yiziel and asks, are you feeling all right? While it was short, we're still companions who have watched each other's backs. It feels regretful separating like this. Seyoung replies, regretful? You get what you deserve. Junsong asks, what's that supposed to mean? Seyoung replies, can't you tell just by looking at that person's level? All he did was try to benefit from me while I carried the group. Yiziel says, what are you trying to say? Wasn't it Hoyoung's abilities that got us through the mission? Seyoung says, what abilities? He just got lucky with his scheming. He just took the final blow when I had it down low. She says, are you sure that he didn't save you from almost dying? He says, that's it. He thinks, now that I think about it, what did he do? Does he have a skill that allows him to change the level he shows? He wouldn't make it back here alive, right? Junsong says, personally, I hope that Lee Hoyoung is as good as Chai Yiziel make it out to be. That way he'll have at least the slight chance of making it back. I'll let them see it with their own eyes. Yiziel thinks of Hoyoung saying, I'll let them see it with their own eyes. She wipes off the tears and says, yes, I believe in him. Hoyoung will return safely, I'm sure of it. Yes, I'm sure he will. After that, we see that Hoyoung is back at the kobolds' village. There are a lot of crows and dead kobolds. He says, "Aren't these the kobolds from before? This feels creepy." Well, anyway, I was thinking about voting for myself if things didn't work out. Guide window says, "The chance of you clearing the mission is very high, and a good reward is waiting for you." He thinks, "It's a good thing that everything seems to be going my way, although it seems like I need to give a little." He is angry at Seong for voting him. System says, Kobold Tribe's hunting group has returned. There are a lot of really strong-looking kobolds. Hoyoung thinks they're here. There is a really big kobold behind the hunting group. System says, the death mission will start. Kill the chieftain and the hunting group that are enraged by the death of their tribesmen. Chieftain is a level 12 boss. Chieftain screams, and all the hunter kobolds run toward Hoyoung. Hoyoung thinks, a boss monster on a death mission. A guide window appears saying, the kobold chieftain is the boss monster of this dungeon and is a level 12 monster. Kobold chieftain, like the other kobolds, is weak to poison. Hoyoung, poison of the apples on his sword, and thinks it's a nearly impossible opponent. If it were anyone else, they would have accepted their fate. One of kobolds attack him with the spear. He easily dodges the attacks. He activates level 2 basic swordsmanship. He cuts down a lot of hunter kobolds easily with a smile on his face. He thinks, but it's different since it's me. He kills all the hunter kobolds and thinks, now that all the side characters are dealt with, the one that's left is, let's take a look at how the boss monster of a death mission is. Hoyoung jumps toward the boss monster. He swings his sword with his full strength, but boss monster easily blocks his attack. A shockwave appears. Hoyoung is really surprised and thinks, it minimized the impact by pulling back at the time of impact. To think a monster would have such skills. As expected of a death mission boss monster. The boss monster turns around. It starts to run. Hoyoung is really surprised and thinks, it's just running away. Hoyoung ran after it. He thinks, how can you call yourself a boss monster? Looks like it'll be over soon. Was this like a bonus stage that anyone who got here could clear? Hoyoung attacks the boss monster a bunch of times. It has only 32% HP left. He thinks, well, it's good for me. Hoyoung attacks the boss monster with a powerful strike. But this time he wasn't able to pierce through the skin of the boss monster. He thinks, what's this all of a sudden? Some red light hits the boss monster. It's the red moon. Boss monster looks at that and gets stronger. Boss suddenly hits Hoyoung with an attack on his shoulder. After that, we see back at the lobby. Seong says, since we can't do anything about someone who's already dead, Kim Seong, will carry you guys for the rest of the floors. Yiziel is still praying and says, please. Seong says, don't you know what death is? It's obvious he's already dead. Why are you even praying for him? Are you praying that he rests in peace? Yiziel gets angry and says, Kim Seong, even when the world is in this state, you should at least have some conscience. What would you do if Hoyoung were to come back safe? Seong says, as if that guy would make it back alive? She asks, are you really going to act like this till the end? He replies, did I say something wrong? A portal appears in the lobby. Hoyoung comes out of the portal. Everyone is happy to see him. All the injuries on Hoyoung's body heals immediately. System says, the player that participated in the death mission has returned alive. He says, I'm back. After that, we see a flashback where the guide says, please be careful as the abilities of the kobold chieftain will increase when the eyes turn red. He is injured and thinks, red eyes? Hoyoung also has 32% HP left. He thinks, I have to stop this bleeding. Boss's HP is constantly decreasing. It has 27% HP left. Boss monster runs toward Hoyoung. Hoyoung thinks, just one hit? I just need one good hit. But how? Hoyoung's back is against a tree. Boss monster uses a really powerful attack. Hoyoung barely dodges the attack. The tree gets destroyed. Hoyoung thinks, it punched a hole through the tree like it's soft tofu. Hoyoung realizes something and thinks, while the sword may not be able to cut a nail can pierce it. I might have been thinking about a sword. Was a weapon only for slashing subconsciously? Good, let's try it. Using its momentum as it rushes toward me, and adding my one weight to it. Boss monster jumps and attacks Hoyoung. Hoyoung also uses a really powerful attack and thinks, focusing it all in one point. Hoyoung's attack pierces through the tough skill of the boss monster. Hoyoung gets excited and thinks, it worked. System says, stabbing has been added to your level 2 basic swordsmanship. You have cleared the death mission. Yiziel jumps toward Hoyoung to hug him. She says, I knew you would make it back. She got hit by something on her way. She goes bouncing. Xiaong is hugging him. Xiaong is really scared and says, I had faith that you'd make it back, big brother Hoyoung. As if a lowly death mission could stop my big bro, Hoyoung, the strongest in the universe. Hoyoung thinks, geez, I wish I could just beat the shit out of him. Other players gets there and say, Lee Hoyoung? He asks him, did you really clear the death mission? I'm really glad to see that you're okay. But if you cleared the mission, you must have gotten a lot of EXP. But your level hasn't changed, has it? Come to think of it, he's still at level 2, right? What if it's the same SAS that time with the rabbit mod and it's just nothing? Hoyoung thinks, I thought I had gotten used to it. But the world wants the weak to stay weak. We see a flashback where other kids in his school says, apparently, Lee Hoyoung topped this midterm. What Lee Hoyoung? He probably cheated, didn't he? He obviously cheated. How the hell would a pathetic orphan get top marks when he doesn't even go to an academy? He thinks, as if they can't allow a worm to wriggle about. Other players say, what if he started hidden somewhere and bided his time before coming out like in the tutorial? Makes sense. What can he even do at that level? He must have been hidden in a pit somewhere. He thinks, so they want to step on it and crush it. I already know it well enough. Prejudiced people don't change their perspective that easily. But right now, what I need to do is... Yiziel gets up and says, don't run your mouth so thoughtlessly. Why do you keep doubting him? Didn't he 6E already prove that he survived the death mission? Hoyoung sees her and thinks, Chai Yiziel. Xiang moves forward and shouts, you're right, big sis. Not only did they fail to hold a party to commemorate the glorious return of my big bro, Hoyoung, the strongest in the universe, they even dared to ruin the mood. You're lost your minds. Haven 6T you? Hoyoung thinks, you sound the craziest to me. Well, even so, I do feel kinda reassured. Anyhow, I need everyone to survive in the tower. If I want that, I have to show them something convincing. Hoyoung says, guys, I need to show you something. He brings out the sword of the boss monster. Item window appears saying, Indomitable Sword, rank rare. Features, attack power 15%. Everyone is really surprised to see that, and says, rare rank? Attack power 15%? Isn't that basically a cheat key? A girl says, no info even pops up for this old long sword. Junsong says, I'm surprised you kept the poison apple with you. Just as Chai Yiziel said, you're truly extraordinary. Hoyoung says, I was just lucky. Junsong tells him, such a great item as a reward is way more valuable. Then some EXP is help for our survival. Hoyoung says, our survival you say. It seems like you've all forgotten. That you all nearly drove me to my death. Everyone is really surprised. Jinho says, you're right. I justified it by thinking that it couldn't be helped, but in the end, it was pure selfishness, thinking that it was fine as long as it wasn't me. Even though we knew that voting for you, when you were the one with the lowest level, was the same as silently targeting you. We threw you into a deadly situation, so we could live ourselves. I am really sorry. I'm truly glad that you came back alive. A girl says, why do you have to go that far? Someone had to go anyway. You even came back with a rare item, so it's all good, isn't it? Jinho says, how could you? Hey, Iseo Unjin, don't you feel the slightest bit of guilt? Unjin says, that's not what you were saying when you voted for him before everyone else. Jinho says, that's. Hoyoung stops him and says, the reason I brought that up wasn't to reprimand you, but to stop this from happening again. You must have already caught on to it during the death mission voting. But the tower is trying to divide us. It's provoking distrust among us, causing conflicts, and probably enjoying sending us on a path to ruin. So I believe that me returning alive from the death mission is an opportunity, because I've already proved that our actions can defy the tower's intentions. Junsong asks, do you have a plan for the future? Hoyoung says, I'll search for ways for most people to survive, and we'll keep climbing the tower. We'll climb higher and higher, and when we reach the end someday, we'll be able to get our lives back, won't we? Everyone says, our lives. He's right, someday we can. Yiziel says, to do that, everyone here will have to join hands. Jinho becomes his fan and thinks, what a generous man. We shouldn't have judged him by something trivial like his level. Rabbit appears there and says, how unfortunate. For this mission, it's a survival game. Everyone is really surprised to see him. They say, didn't he leave? Why is he here again? Is he giving us stat points this time too? By survival mission, don't tell me you mean. Rabbit says, you're a quick one after all. That's right. The mission for level 2 will be among the 15 players in this place. Everyone is really scared. Rabbit says, a battle royal. But it's a lower level. It's just a mild taste for you all. So cheer up, yeah? Okay, then I'll explain the rules. Rule 1. In the level 2 mission, there will be 16 players and 16 doppelgangers. So, in total, there will be 32 people. 2. Conditions to clear. Kill all the doppelgangers. Simple, right? The doppelgangers will not only have the same stats, but the same memories as well, so it won't be easy. And the most important is rule number 3. There's no reward for a player who kills a doppelganger. But if a player kills a player, he can obtain stat points and gold. In other words, this mission could be an opportunity for you. Everyone says, opportunity, as if you're basically telling us to kill each other. And for every 30 minutes there is no kill, everyone will be immediately summoned to the lobby and will face a huge disaster. A lighting still hits beside them. They say, what is he trying to do? Something's coming out. A really big hand comes out of the portal. Its level is unknown. Hoyoung thinks, don't tell me. Jinho tells Hoyoung, get out of the way. He expects us to fight that? The first part of my exclusive tower guide ends here. If you want to see more, please subscribe and like. And if you want to support me financially, you can join my channel membership or Patreon only for $1. Patreon and Discord links are in the description if you want to support me. And a special thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks for watching.